Firstly, good evening. Thank you so much to you all. So, talking about brand Hyderabad, I think the first and foremost thing I wanted to highlight is that we keep talking about our city as a city which has the potential to truly become a global city. A city that really has the potential to make a mark across the world, along the side of, say, New York or a Dallas or a Chicago or a London, etc., etc. We keep hearing so many similes, so many kind of comparisons. But if you think about it, today we live in a city which, even as we speak, does not have a lot of things going for it. For instance, we've recently seen what has happened in Chennai. Just, I think, 100 plus mm of rain, and the entire city, 100 plus cm of rain, the entire city was flooded. So if you ask me, is a city like Hyderabad prepared to handle such a situation? My answer today is absolutely a no. We definitely need a world-class sewerage system. We do not yet have a portable drinking water connection in each and every household. We nearly have 21 lakh households in the city of Hyderabad. We have more than 1 crore people residing in Hyderabad. But do we give them safe drinking water, which is a basic human requirement? Probably no. What about pavements? We keep calling again, we keep reminding, we keep boasting that we are a world-class city. Do we have pedestrian pathways? Do we have pavements? No. Do we have roads which are congenial? Do we have roads which are congenial to all modes of traffic? Even if you're on an 8-wheeler or a 4-wheeler or a 2-wheeler, do we have conducive roads? Do we have traffic regulations which are world-class? Absolutely not. Do we have smart traffic management? Absolutely not. Do we have a growth which is sustainable? I don't think so. We have growth which is in spurts, which is unsustainable. So therefore, this is the current situation as I see it. And I'm sure most of the citizens of Hyderabad who've seen and traveled across the world would agree with me. Now, what do we plan going forward? Hyderabad has, in the last 60 plus years, it has a history of more than 400 plus years, but in the last 60 plus years of after independence, has only seen haphazard, unstructured, ad hoc, not so inspiring kind of growth and not so inspiring kind of model. But what we do have plans to do in the future, as a government, as a party that is in control, at the helm of affairs in the state today, we have a lot of plans laid out. In fact, what we want to do very differently is, firstly, get out of this mode of unstructured and haphazard growth, get to a mode where we have planned, regulated, and structured growth opportunities. We want to have, for instance, one quick example would be a strict enforcement of our building regulations, a strict enforcement for all future construction, so that we don't just create huge buildings with glass facades and forget to create parking spaces down below. We create a high-tech city, but we forgot to create a nice sewerage system right below it. Now, what else do we have plans? I'll go in detail, but broadly, we are focused on the basics. We're focused on getting the basics right, because if you see any city that has done well for itself, then it has really, really taken it upon itself, taken it as a challenge to ensure that the basics are sorted. Drinking water, electricity, roads, parks and water bodies, quality of life, if you have to sum it up quickly. Now, I would quickly encapsulate this whole thing in about 6 different elements. Infrastructure, employment, culture, investments, public amenities, and welfare schemes. We as a government, we as a party, have a very strategic and holistic approach toward the future, towards the future of Hyderabad, covering all essential elements, but focusing essentially on the basics, like I mentioned. We also want to rebuild the confidence of people in our public institutions. If you take a look at our public healthcare system, public education system, they've been systematically, over a period of time, dismantled. We want to revive those. We also, like I said, we want to take baby steps if needed, but we want to be on the path towards a sustainable growth and not towards an unstructured growth in spurts. We want to be proactive in terms of planning, because a city like Hyderabad, which currently has more than 10 million, which is 1 crore of people, needs a proper plan going forward. Unless you do that, we'll end up like a Chennai, we'll end up like a Bangalore, where the infrastructure today is unable to meet with the growth. Now, coming to infrastructure, the first and foremost thing anybody and everybody talks about when it comes to urban townships, be it Hyderabad, Bengaluru, Chennai, Kolkata, Delhi, etc., etc., the metros in India. We keep saying a lot of smart things, but our traffic is really out of control. In fact, I should share one quick anecdote with you. I'm the IT minister, so therefore a lot of people come and pitch me their ideas about smart cities, etc. So there was this organization from the US which flew in all the way, met me, and gave me a fantastic presentation, a beautiful video, etc. And they said, sir, we have a fantastic solution for you. I can send you an alert to your command and control center, to your police people, your traffic people, when somebody cuts a lane abruptly. So I said, great, why don't you demonstrate? So he kind of showed it to me, what happens in LA, what happens elsewhere. And then I looked at him and I said, why don't you also give me an alert when somebody actually comes at me in a one-way street? He looks at me and he goes, why? Why would you need that? I said, welcome to India, welcome to Hyderabad. So that's the kind of situation we are in. Let us be real, the solutions that we need for today, the solutions that we want for ourselves today cannot be in the West, cannot be found in the West, cannot be found in the East, cannot be found anywhere else. We have to Indianize these solutions. We have to get them, tailor-made to our own requirements. Therefore, we have several plans as a party and as a government. In fact, it's funny because I represent a constituency called Sirisila in Karimnagar district, which is about 140 kilometers away from here. The distance, the time it takes for me to get from Sirisila to Alwal or from Sirisila to Boinpalli is about hour and 15 minutes. But the distance it takes, the time it takes me for me to get from Boinpalli to my home in Banjara Hills or from Alwal to Banjara Hills is again 1 hour and a half. So now the challenge is, how do we decongest the city? How do we ensure going forward we do not crumble in terms of infrastructure? So therefore we have come out with a plan called the SRDP, Strategic Road Development Plan. I'll quickly show you a video as well. As part of the SRDP, what we are going to do is the following. One, we will ensure that the existing roads, existing junctions are taken care of. Existing junctions are sorted. Existing junctions by far are decongested as much as we can. Two, we are also going to do something more. In fact, we have a very, very interesting and a unique challenge here in Hyderabad. Water is the biggest enemy for a bitumen road, BT road, right? So each and every time there is water stagnation, the road, in spite of however many times you relay it, it's gone in no time. So we are going with this unique approach of white topping our roads. We've done it in a pilot mode on road number 10 in Banjara Hills, right in front of that Rainbow Hospital. It was a success. We are going to go ahead with 400 kilometers of white topping in the next 1 year. And then we are also recarpeting currently about 1800 kilometers of road, and we are recarpeting with bitumen, BT. We are committed to completing the outer ring road in the next couple of months. In fact, right now, outer ring road, which is complete, when complete, will be about 152 kilometers, is only complete 95%. The remaining 5% shall be completed in the next 2 months. So the remaining stretch that you see between the Vijayawada highway, the Warangal highway, and the Warangal highway, and also the Karimnagar highway shall also be connected very, very soon. And the most important thing, we have some very novel initiatives. We have some very novel plans. I don't know how many of you have been to Taipei, the capital of Taiwan, but if you have been there, I think you would have seen that along this river that cuts across the city of Taipei, you have a wonderful 6-lane expressway. Likewise, the TRS government in Telangana wants to build an end-to-end 42-kilometer stretch, 6-lane expressway along the side of Musi, cutting from one end to the other. This might sound fancy, but I promise you one thing. When KCR ji said Telangana would be a reality about 14 years ago, a lot of people called it a pipe dream, a lot of people dismissed him off, but today we live in the state of Telangana. So trust me when I say it, you have a chief minister whose resolve is as strong as steel. So trust me, it will happen. And now, this 42 kilometers of expressway that I talk about, what will it do? It will not only decongest the traffic, it will basically cut the city into two. What we call the old city and the new city, it will basically cut it into two with ramps going up and down. And the most important aspect, it will free up almost a few thousand acres of land along the banks of Musi, which can be developed as fantastic riverfront. Today you have a necklace road where you have some hangouts. You can create something very similar. For example, Hyderabad cuisine is world famous. Hyderabad biryani is world famous. Hyderabad kebabs are world famous. Why cannot we actually ensure that this cuisine that we are so proud of is introduced to the world as well? Why can't we have our own eateries along the bank of Musi? Obviously, Musi needs to also be clean. Obviously, we can't have eateries on that stench, with that stench. But nevertheless, that is a possibility also, that's a prospect also. At least in stretches, we can do it. Let me also share with you, for those of you who live in this part of the town, for those of you who find it a pain to commute from road number 45 and then go through that entire lanes and by-lanes through the Nectar Garden, etc., very congested route. We have a plan to build a world-class suspension bridge right across Durgam Cheru. From road number 45, it will take you right to In-Orbit Mall directly. That's something also we have in the offering with about 200 crores. And that is, again, it is going to be commissioned very, very soon. Let me just quickly make this work. Need some help, guys?
The government of Telangana
Let me
is
just
taking major
play you a video of what we have
to provide
planned.
the right environment for the people to live happily. On the one hand, there is an exemplary growth story of a global city, and on the other, Hyderabad is also facing numerous challenges in terms of infrastructure provision, especially related to traffic management and transportation. Some of the key issues being faced include dependency of commuters on a few arterial roads, constant congestion and pressure on these roads, lack of proper junction design, inadequate parking, and inadequate safety for pedestrians. The city also faces serious problems like increasing traffic accidents, taking a toll on human life, and the ever-increasing pollution levels posing a health hazard to its citizens. The overall traffic and transportation situation is getting worse, and the people of the city feel the pain every day. The question is to act now or face an infrastructure breakdown. This will have serious consequences on the economic growth of the city. The government of Telangana and GHMC are undertaking a strategic improvement plan for easing the traffic and transportation system. The Chief Minister is personally taking the lead in discussing matters with the experts. The comprehensive plan has been drawn up with the following broad objective: overall improvement in connectivity and circulation, need for alternate routes to decongest traffic, seamless and signal-free movement of traffic wherever possible, world-class roads and junctions, proper facilities for pedestrians and bicyclists, intelligent transport systems and smart technologies. At the city level, 5 major physical components are planned. 5 skyways around 100 kilometers in length with up and down ramps at regular intervals. 11 major corridors stretching over 184 kilometers. 60 major roads covering around 316 kilometers. Other roads spread all across the city with a length of around 1,400 kilometers. 50 grade separators, interchanges at major junctions spread across the whole city. Showcased here are only some of the key elements of a comprehensive plan to be taken up in a phase-wise manner. And to achieve these objectives, it requires a combination of visionary engineering and active participation and support of the citizens. Under the able leadership and guidance of the Chief Minister, the government of Telangana is planning to work on a mission mode and make Hyderabad a truly global city.
Well, guys, that might sound a little unreal. That might look a little cinematic. It might look unreal, and for those of us who lived in the city for decades, it might look like a dream. When we can do an outer ring road, which is world class, why can't we do this? I'm sure 6 years after the outer ring road, today, I think this is very much a possibility, especially with the kind of financial institutions that are coming forward to fund this. Now, coming to other aspects of infrastructure. Like I said, we call ourselves a global city. But the 21 lakh households in Hyderabad and the 85 lakh households in Telangana still do not have a tapped water connection. In fact, a lot of people say, this is a high-tech city, etc. But unfortunately, if you think about it, the drinking water needs of this city, which currently has a population of 1 crore, have not been thought of. We've had Usman Sagar and Himayat Sagar, which were built, I think, in the early 1930s. And since then, we haven't had a single reservoir being built for the city, for the drinking water needs of the city. We were trying to tap water all the way from Godavari, which is about 160 kilometers away from here. We are trying to bring water from Krishna, which is again 100 plus kilometers away from here. But we've never given it a thought. For a city like Hyderabad, we need dedicated drinking water reservoirs. In fact, we are planning 2 such reservoirs, one to the north of the city, one to the south of the city, with a combined capacity of 30 TMC. What that would mean essentially is, today's population of Hyderabad, like I mentioned, is about 1 crore. Even if the city grows by 10x, even if the population gets to 10 crores, we should still be able to meet our drinking water needs from these 2 reservoirs that I mentioned. And currently we are underway of a project called Mission Bhagirath, which does exactly what I'm talking about, a portable, safe water connection to each and every household. In fact, for the citizens of this wonderful city, what we plan to do is eventually get to a stage where each and every citizen is given 150 LPCD of water, which means 150 liters per person per day. So If there are 10 people in your house, you would be getting about 1,500 liters or so. Now, the other important aspect I also wanted to touch upon is promoting rainwater harvesting. We do have wonderful laws in place. We do have wonderful legislations in place, but we actually don't implement them. We don't actually enforce them. So rainwater harvesting is something that, again, we are promoting in a big way in the villages. But when it comes to Hyderabad, there are some apartments, resident welfare associations that have done it well. But we also want to build momentum on this to ensure that each and every drop of water that we get through rain is harvested, is actually saved, is conserved, and becomes a source for future as well. In terms of infrastructure, I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Telangana was coming into being about 2 years ago, there were doomsday predictions about the power situation. There were people who were predicting outgoing, people in important capacities who had said that Telangana would really end up in darkness, utter darkness. But today, if you look at it, Hyderabad city and the citizens of Hyderabad, I'm proud to say this, have had the first summer which was power cut free in the last 30 years, and all credit to the TRS government for doing this. Now, how did we do this? How did we do this? We did not even actually generate 1 additional megawatt of power. What did we do? We raised our internal efficiencies. We bought power wherever we could, and we ensured that the current 4,760 megawatts of power, which is the installed capacity of all the power stations across Telangana today, which obviously is not enough for us. We ensured that that gap also was covered by way of raising internal efficiencies and by purchase of power. But now, what we want to ensure is something even more solid. If Hyderabad has to be a global city, it needs an island power station, meaning a dedicated power distribution mechanism for the city of Hyderabad. We need to be a city where we will not even have power sheds or power cuts, even for a single second, leave alone for a few hours or few days, etc., etc. So we are ramping up. In fact, what we're doing is, from the 4,760 megawatts of power today, the installed capacity of power today, we're ramping up our power production to about 24,000 megawatts in the next 4 years. We've done all the financial closures. We've raised a loan of 91,000 crores, and we are also committed to environment, by the way, for those of you who are interested in the environmental aspect. In fact, out of these 24,000 megawatts of power, 3,000 megawatts, which is more than what the National Solar Policy mandates, will be from renewable energy sources. And I'm also happy to share with you, Telangana has already called for bids for 3,000 megawatts of solar power, and we have discovered the second lowest power tariff in the country, rupees 5 rupees 17 paisa per unit. Now, like I said, a dedicated power island for Hyderabad is in the offing with an investment of about 2,000 crores, as part of which we'll be building new 400 kV ring line around the city of Hyderabad. We also will be building new substations to ensure that there are no low voltage problems also. I also mentioned solar energy, but the last thing is far more important. Besides generating newer power, I think energy conservation is also equally important. So in days to come, in about next few months, you will see that the 3.5 lakh street lights that we have in Hyderabad will be completely changed, completely switched over to LED. And this will happen in the next 3 months. Thereon, the 21 lakh households in the city of Hyderabad will also be given 4 lamps each, 4 LED lamps each, all free of cost, or maybe with a minimal price, at least a cost-to-cost kind of a thing. And that also will save some energy. Now, going to public amenities. We talk about a lot of things, but we don't have a good waste disposal mechanism. Today, a city like Hyderabad, if you remember, up until a few months ago, there are all these nice slogans, there are all these nice things being said about Swachh Bharat, Swachh Telangana, Swachh Hyderabad. But it has remained essentially a photo op. A politician comes, holds a broom, sweeps it, takes a nice pic and gets out. What happens after that? Because these kind of things they have to be sustainable. Unless you have a sustainable plan, you can't really have a Swachh Hyderabad or a Swachh Telangana. So what have we started doing? We basically have started overhauling the 3,500 kilometers of our sewer networks. Unfortunately, some of these go way back to, say, 70 years. Some of them go back to 30 years. So the connectivity, the kind of interoperability is definitely a challenge. But what we also have started doing is, we've started doing something far more concrete. There are 3 aspects to waste disposal. 1, obviously collection. 2, transportation. 3, treatment. We are focused on all 3 of them. On the collection aspect, in fact, we are probably the only state in the country where the government has decided to distribute bins to the citizens at its cost. Our chief minister, you can see him holding up a dustbin there. Have you ever seen a chief minister holding a dustbin and saying, this is how you got to use it, this is for dry waste, this is for wet waste. He's that kind of a person who is extremely focused on details. So we have a chief minister who's not just educating us, who's not just sensitizing us on the waste disposal mechanism. We also have wonderful new vehicles, swanky new vehicles, like you've seen the swanky new police vehicles. Now we also have swanky new waste transportation vehicles, which are currently now underway in terms of distribution. And we have distributed 2 dustbins to each and every of the 22 lakh families. We are currently underway. In fact, some of you may not have gotten it. Some of the colonies have gotten it. So 22 lakh families are going to get that. 1,000 auto trolleys have been commissioned. 1,000 more are on the cards. And the last part, treatment. We are doing 2 things. With the wet waste, we are going to create manure. We are also going to create wealth out of it. With the dry waste, we are also going to create energy. So the waste to wealth concept will also be definitely taken care of as part of this. We are also installing modern bio-toilets along the streets. It's a shame when you see people urinating in public on our wonderful streets and wonderful roads. So we are installing these modern toilets. Again, some of them have already been installed. You may have seen them. But ultimately, we want to get to that 1100 benchmark. Now, in terms of improving the public amenities, what else can we do? When we started talking about cleaning up Hussain Sagar, strangely enough, there were some people objecting to that as well. Today, you cannot commute or you cannot travel or pass by Hussain Sagar without closing your nose, without getting affected by that stench. And when we started making an effort to actually clean that up, people also were casting aspersions, raising doubts, and making a fuss about it. So there are a lot of things we need to get right. Cleaning up Hussain Sagar is one of them. But let me quickly also talk about other things. As part of Mission Kakatiya, Telangana, in fact, today, if you think about it, water harvesting, watershed, these are all the cool fancy terms that we hear today. But thousands of years ago, Telangana and the then rulers of Telangana had discovered the magic of what was called the watershed. We, in fact, in Telangana, using the contours, using the undulating topography, have a chain tank system. And we are in the process of reviving that right now. In fact, 46,000 tanks across Telangana have been identified, also including those in Hyderabad. And we are in the process of desilting them. We are in the process of reviving their lost glory. Also, like I mentioned, Musi rejuvenation, beautification is one more aspect we are focused on. The other thing we are extremely kicked about is also Gandipet. We are planning, in fact, I'll show you in the next slide. Okay, it's there. We are planning to build a cycling track, a walking track, and a landscape area also, so that people actually, because today I have 2 young kids. A kid who's 10, my son, Himanshu, and my daughter, Alekia, who's again 7, just turned 7. I don't know where to take them on a holiday or a weekend. Unfortunately, we don't have enough picnic spots. Unfortunately, we don't have enough open spaces. So, ideally, for a family who lives here in this part of the town, we want to create another new avenue, say Gandipet, where you can actually have where the family can actually spend a weekend if needed. So, likewise, I mentioned, we want to create mass public transport systems. Hyderabad Metro, let me reassure you, don't go by the propaganda, don't go by the rumor mills, etc. Hyderabad Metro is very much on course. The 72 kilometers of Hyderabad Metro will be completed as stipulated, as mandated in the 5-year period that we were given, 2012 until 2017. The first phase of metro, the 20 kilometers, first stretch between Miapur and Sanjeev Reddy Nagar, the stretch between Mettuguda and Nagol will be commissioned in the first half of next year, and the rest of metro will definitely become functional in 2017. I promise you this. The second thing we also want to assure you, we are not content with the metro being 72 kilometers alone. There are large tracts of the city which are uncovered. Therefore, we've already started working on phase 2 of metro. For instance, the stretch between Miapur and Patancheru, it is uncovered. The stretch between Nagol and LB Nagar is uncovered. The stretch between LB Nagar to Shamshabad is uncovered. The stretch between Gachibowli and Shamshabad is also not covered. So we are wanting to cover these areas as part of the phase 2. Phase 2 would be 82 kilometers more, and eventually, if you think about it, a city like Delhi, with a population of 5 crores today, has a metro which spans 200 kilometers. A city like Hyderabad, which is 1/5 the size of Delhi, is currently about 72 kilometers. But as the city grows, I think we also have to grow our metro. Probably in the next 10 to 15 years, you'll see the metro completing its phase 2, and then eventually moving to that stage where we will have 200 kilometers. But one important thing I'd like to add, I'll take 5 more minutes, Ravi Garu. One important thing I wanted to add with regard to metro. So what happens on the last mile, meaning the last mile, when you get dropped in your station and then you have to commute 2 or 3 kilometers to your home, what do we do then? We have planned two things for you. One, keeping in view the environment and the air pollution aspect, we have plans to bring in shuttles, which are going to be electric vehicles. Electric vehicles which are autos, the three-wheelers or the four-wheelers. We will have dedicated EV stations in each and every metro station. And in tandem with the UN Habitat, we are also setting up 100 bicycling stations in the metro stations also. So this put together will be also ensuring that you will effectively stop using your private vehicles even to commute to the metro station. And the other thing I also wanted to quickly mention, the Hussain Sagar cleaning up. At one point of time, Hussain Sagar was a freshwater lake. Today, look at its plight. When we talk about cleaning it up, we have to do three things. One, we have to divert all the nalas which send sewerage into Hussain Sagar. Two, we have to pump in fresh water. Three, we have to stop abusing it. We have to stop abusing it. We have to stop dumping, statues which are full of plaster of Paris, etc. We have to start using clay idols. We have to start using material which is in consonance with nature. Otherwise, you'll never be able to protect something as beautiful as Hussain Sagar. Hyderabad is blessed to have a wonderful lake like Hussain Sagar in the middle of it, which can be a host for national, international sailing events, which can be a host for several other things, a beautiful cruise, a beautiful dinner, several other events, sporting events, etc. So we are committed to that. In fact, we are diverting the big Kukatpalli Nala, and there are several slides which I have to complete, so let me just quickly breeze through it and I'll come back. The greening initiative of Hyderabad, unless Hyderabad also takes it upon itself to green up, to improve our green cover, we're not going to be a city, we're never going to be a world-class city. So as part of the Harita Haram program, Telangana Ku Harita Haram program, we have decided to plant 10 crore saplings just in the city of Hyderabad. 10 crore saplings. But unfortunately last year, the rains did not cooperate. So we have, in fact, I was at a colony residential association recently called Gautami Enclave in Kondapur, where the residents of that colony have taken it upon themselves, and I think they've planted more than 1,000 saplings, because of the government's initiative. So I think with people's participation, that number is also doable. It's nothing that can't be done. Now, we don't have enough playgrounds and parks for our kids. We have unfortunately not been able to protect our parks. Most of them have been encroached, most of them have been usurped, etc., etc. So the remaining spots, the remaining locations which are very much within the control of GHMC, we would like to ensure that they're greened up, they are actually created, and they are converted into playgrounds for our children. New markets. A city like Hyderabad today, if you have to go to a market, I can only think of 4 or 5 markets. One is in Gadiyanaram, another one is the Monda market. I can't think of any other because I haven't shopped off late, obviously, as you can tell. But I can't think of many markets. Our citizens, unfortunately, do not have the luxury of having a healthy market. Today, we have to go to a Reliance market or one of these the fresh marts or metros to buy vegetables. So we want to create model markets for every 10,000 people in our city. That would mean creating almost 1,000 markets. Depending on the size, depending on the location, depending on the availability of space. Now, auditoriums in various colonies, when we have to conduct a family function, etc., birthday party, etc. Today, unfortunately, we either have to go to a banquet hall or to a function hall. We also want, wherever we can, wherever we are able to procure land, we also want to create more new auditoriums. I don't know how many of you have seen the Mahaprasthanam, a graveyard in Jubilee Hills, but it's a model graveyard. It doesn't look like a graveyard. The picture that you see in the bottom corner out there is that of a graveyard. We want to create, and that was done in a PPP mode, the public-private partnership mode. So Telangana government, TRS, is committed to creating more and more of these crematoriums, graveyards in a PPP mode so that they have the look and feel of not a graveyard. Now, what else do we need in terms of public amenities? We need to be a safe city. Government of Telangana is planning to install 10,000 CCTV cameras on itself. And with public participation, we want to install 90,000 more. In fact, I'm happy to share with you. Recently, on a single day, I went around, I think, to about 7 colonies, 7 resident welfare associations, who have all come forward and are installing about 100 CCTV cameras each. So with that kind of participation, we have more than 3,400 resident welfare associations in Hyderabad. If each of them comes forward with the government support, with the law and order machinery support, we can achieve that 1 lakh CCTV camera number. On top right corner, what you see out there is a world-class command control center, which will be unveiled, which will be inaugurated very, very soon by our Honorable Chief Minister. And this definitely will be comparable with the kind of policing that would be, that is currently available in, say, London or in New York. And I don't know how many of you have run into this traffic problem with the cops, but these days, a lot of them wear these body-worn cameras, so they don't misbehave with you. So they don't, you know how it works. I don't have to really elaborate. Being a minister, I don't think I should say that. But nevertheless, the cops earlier used to do certain things which now they are wary of doing because they wear a body-worn camera. This is the first of its kind in the country, by the way, guys. No other city has done it. The other thing we have done, patrolling vehicles mounted with CCTV cameras as well. So you have a mobile CCTV running around your city, patrolling and ensuring the safety of citizens. Guys, cut back to 2 years. Go back 2 years. What was the situation then when Telangana was just coming into being? How many stories did you hear about how things would spiral out of control? How the law and order situation in the city would just, go, how the administration would just go to cats and dogs, right? But today, if you think about it, aren't you safer? Aren't you better? With the kind of new vehicles we have, with the kind of new policing mechanism we have, with the SHE teams that we have for the safety of women, with the SHE shuttles that we have in place to ferry our women employees in the IT corridor. More than 100 special SHE teams have been created to curb eve teasing, to curb all kinds of atrocities that are committed against women. We also have dedicated women police stations which have been created at the request of women employees in the IT zone here. We also have started using technology, leveraging technology. Applications such as Hawkeye, which have won awards across India, in fact, have also come into vogue for the safety of women. So these are all the kind of things that we are trying to ensure, trying to build in, bring in on ensuring our safety of our citizens. Now, a quick video on what we are doing in terms of women's safety.
ఇంటర్నేషనల్ స్థాయిలో హైదరాబాద్ నగరంలో పోలీస్ కమాండ్ అండ్ కంట్రోల్ సెంటర్ మహిళల రక్షణ కోసం షీ టీమ్స్ ఏర్పాటు చేయడం ఇవన్నీ కూడా చేయడం జరిగిందనే సందర్భంగా సంతోషంగా నేను మనవి చేస్తా ఉన్నాను.
All right, now coming to investments. What have we done so far? We've passed a couple of historic legislations. We've set the benchmark really high. We've raised the bar for the rest of the country. We've passed what is called TS iPass. Today, it is basically, I think, the state of Telangana, which has a unique distinction of creating one of the best industrial policies in the world. And when I say the world, I mean it. I'm actually talking about the world. The reason why I say this, I'll come to it. What is Telangana's industrial policy? I'll just quickly reel out 3 salient features. One, we have a self-certification system, wherein any new enterprise coming into Telangana does not need to seek a clearance. As long as you believe that you will comply to the law of the land, you can come in, hit the ground running, and get started on day one. Unheard of in India for now. Secondly, for any mega investor, we promise all clearances in 15 days. Who is a mega investor? Any investor who brings in an investment of more than 200 crores of Indian rupees or 30 million US dollars, or any investor who creates 1,000 jobs, or any investor whose investment or whose project is of strategic importance to the state. Now, what happens? Because every state tells you, every state will tell you that they have a single window clearance. But the joke is, there are always multiple windows behind that single window. But we are different in the sense, if we don't respond to you in 15 days, on the 16th day, your application is deemed to have been approved. On the 16th day, you don't have to wait for a clearance from the government. That's unique and that's first of its kind in the country. The second thing we also do, on the 16th day, what can you do as an investor? I promise you a lot of things. I'm government. What can you do to me if I don't deliver? You actually can do something in Telangana. You may not be able to do anything elsewhere, but you can do something here. By statute, we are liable for penal action. You can drag us to a court of law and sue us if I don't deliver in 15 days. And we also do a third thing. That is, we fine our bureaucrats who are responsible for the delay. From the 16th day onwards, a fine of rupees 1,000 per day. Whoever has caused it. It's not so much about money. It's about putting them to shame. So I was sharing all these details. The reason why I say this is the best policy in the world, I was sharing the same exact details with the chairman of KPMG, John Wehmeyer, in New York City. So I told him, no other state in India offers this. He looked at me square in the eye and he goes, no other state in the United States also offers this. You can go and tell your countrymen that this is probably the best policy in the world. So that's the kind of policy we have, and therefore, what have we done in the last 16, 18 months? We've been able to attract 3 marquee names in IT. Google, Amazon, and Uber. All 3 of them have decided to set up their largest base outside of the US in our own city of Hyderabad in the last 16 to 18 months. Besides that, we've also attracted Amazon to open their largest fulfillment center here. Flipkart has opened one of its biggest fulfillment centers here. We've also attracted Micromax, Cellcon. I don't know how many of you guys know this, but President Barack Obama's helicopter cabin today actually gets manufactured in our own city of Hyderabad. Tata's, in partnership with Sikorsky, manufactured it right here. And recently we've had a big victory with Boeing deciding to set shop in India. We've been able to attract successfully them to Hyderabad, and Boeing is also going to manufacture Apache helicopters and aerostructures right here in our own city of Hyderabad. What have we done in terms of IT? In the last 1.5 years, we've surpassed the country's IT growth rate. While the country was growing at 13%, we grew at 16%. We've been able to create 70,000 new jobs. We've been able to take our IT exports numbers from 60,000 crores to 70,000 crores. And all in all, direct and indirect combined, we almost are able to offer now from the private sector, obviously with the support of the private sector, but 10 lakh jobs. Pharma City is currently underway. It will be set up because, as many of you may know, Hyderabad is the bulk drugs capital of the world. In fact, I don't know how many of you know this, but out of the global vaccines manufactured, 20% of them are manufactured in Hyderabad. So, for those of you who have children, the next time you get your kid a vaccine shot, there's 1 in 5 chance that the vaccine was manufactured right here in our own city of Hyderabad. So we are setting up a pharma city, which will also include a pharma university, and that will be set up in about 10,000 acres of land. We are happy with Outer Ring Road, but we are not content. We are creating another regional ring road around Outer Ring Road. It's an overarching circle around the Outer Ring Road, covering the towns of Shadnagar, Bhuvanagiri, Gajwel, Sangareddy, Vikharabad, and then back to Shadnagar. It is again a 285-kilometer road, which will be a concentric circle, if you think about it, outside of the ORR, and which will have radial connectivity to Outer Ring Road also, creating zones and clusters where we want to create more satellite townships, where we want to create more industrial corridors for specific sectors such as biotech, aviation, electronics, etc. Now, coming to employment, we also have 3 other interesting things that we've done. For those, the frequent complaint that we keep hearing from industry is, our students are not industry ready. Our students are not readily employable. For those students, we've created what is called TASK. We trained more than 20,000 IT graduates who are out of their college. We ensured that most of them got some kind of placement or the other. We also, in the next 4 years, are wanting to create more than 100,000 new jobs for our IT students, especially through TASK. And then T-Hub, it's my favorite subject. T-Hub is the country's largest technology incubator. Yesterday we had Satya Nadella there, and it was very, very cool of Vishal Sikka just to drop in and say hello. So we have had several high-profile visitors there, and I believe T-Hub is the way to go forward, because eventually we will get to a stage where the next Google, next Facebook, next Twitter, next WhatsApp should come from India, and preferably from our own city of Hyderabad. That's the dream, that's the goal of T-Hub. Now, we have also started filling up the government job vacancies through the Telangana State Public Service Commission, also through electricity department does its own thing, police department, education department, and Singareni and other corporations. A quick video on T-Hub. Let me quickly play that for you. Let's see. Does that look like a government building to you? Well, Ratan Tata called it the new face of India. Yesterday, Satya Nadella was there and he said, the closest thing to tea I had when I was growing up in Hyderabad was Tank Bun. But now you guys are lucky to have a tea hub is what he said yesterday. So that's tea hub for you. For all the youngsters out there who are wanting to do more, who are wanting to give wings to their aspirations, we have created a platform for you to walk in with a product, walk in with an idea and walk out with a product. Now let me just quickly browse through the various other things that we do for the socially marginalized, socially challenged also. The double bedroom scheme that we've launched is again a pioneering thing in which no other state in India talks about today. Today, the scheme which government of Telangana has launched, with our chief minister has launched, basically promises a 560 square foot of space free of cost to the poor and the needy, to the homeless. So we are going to build a total of 1 lakh houses in Hyderabad over the next 3 years. And the model colony, a pilot project has already been completed in IDH colony. We do a series of several other things, such as giving fine rise, PDS distribution has been enhanced, social security, the pensions have been enhanced for the socially challenged, etc., etc. Kalyan Lakshmi, Shadi Mubarak. These are all the schemes that are really oriented and focused on ensuring that the vulnerable in our society are also helped by the government, are also given a lending, are also lent a helping hand by the government. Now coming to my favorite subject, culture. Hyderabad is a city which has got this fascinating juxtaposition of history, culture on the one hand, and a new age vibrancy in the other. Now it's a challenge for us to actually keep it intact. I firmly believe, especially for those of you who reside in this IT area, IT corridor, I firmly believe that you need more and more events happening. In fact, when we came to office and when I started talking to the press in the initial days of our government, when I said we'll bring Sunburn to Hyderabad, a lot of people looked at me like I was a fool. But today, I think Hyderabad is probably the city on the EDM circuit in the last 18 months, which has more events, which has had more events than Bangalore, let me tell you. So that's the kind of change, that's the kind of support we have lent to various social events in our city. We have brought in several new events. We have supported several initiatives from private parties, such as Rahagiri, Car Free Thursday. We've celebrated all of our festivals, all of our cultural events with gusto. We've celebrated Batukama, we've celebrated Bonalu, we've celebrated Ramzan, we have celebrated Christmas. We've basically done everything that we could have to ensure that the Ganga Jamuna Tehzeeb, the wonderful Hyderabadi culture, the wonderful Hyderabadi fabric that we all talk about, is not only kept intact, but also promoted and enhanced. In terms of creating new cycling tracks, there is some way to go. But we definitely are committed to it, especially we want to do it firstly in the IT corridor, and probably then as we start decongesting the city, also move to other parts of the city. Improving libraries is very, very important. I see when I go to Chikkatpalli, the state library, I see kids, students reading outside, under a tin roof, under a tent, a makeshift arrangement. We need more public libraries. We need more public gymnasiums, and we need more public Wi-Fi hotspots. I got to apologize for this one thing. I promised you Wi-Fi in Hyderabad in 6 months, but unfortunately there have been hitches. I will ensure that that promise is also kept, and we will still beat Delhi and other cities in India, and be the first city in India to at least to have complete Wi-Fi enablement sometime very, very soon. Now the last thing I want to share, in terms of, this is the last slide, so don't worry. In terms of our performance in the last 18 months, we have been a state that has been a role model to a lot of other states in the country. We have pioneered some of the projects which have not been thought of by those states which have been in existence for the last 60 plus years. We are the youngest state in India. We are the new kid on the block. But in the last 18 months, in spite of our own handicaps, in spite of our own issues, we have come out with some of those amazing initiatives. One, Mission Bhagirath, to the 85 lakh households in Telangana. We promise tap water connection to each and every household with a cost of almost about 40,000 crores of rupees in a time-bound fashion in about 3 years from now. Likewise, Mission Kakatiya, restoration of about 45,000 lakes and tanks, desilting them, repairing the feeder channels to ensure that every single drop of water that trickles in the form of rain is harvested, is nurtured for future generations. Haritaharam, the current green cover of the state is about 23%. We want to take it up to 33%, and this will be the third largest effort in human history. We will be planting more than 230 crore saplings in the next 4 years like I said, that will be the third largest effort in the human history. The fourth thing, while we are at it with Mission Bhagiratha and laying out and digging out landscape of Telangana, we'll be laying about 150,000 kilometers of pipeline. So we decided that we'll also lay a fiber optic along the side of the water pipeline so that we can give, and we will be the first state in the country, while the country may talk about digital India, etc., we'll be the first state in India to truly connect the last mile also by way of giving broadband connection to each and every household. And the last thing I'd also like to mention, the fantastic industrial policy that we've launched. Like I said, it's not just the best in the country, but it is probably one of the best in the world also. So having said all this, obviously we won some awards also. I have to gloat a bit, I have to brag a bit. So our Chief Minister was the CNN IBN Man of the Year, and we've been awarded we've been given several awards in the last 18 months or so. We won India Today State of the State awards 2 years consecutively. First year for best infrastructure, second year for for the state with the most inclusive development. Thirdly, we've also won the HUDCO award for the Mission Bhagiratha. We also award some awards in ICT category, and etc., etc. Guys, finally, I'd like to say this one thing, and then we'll go back to the conversation and to Ravi Chandra, who's been waiting very patiently. Hyderabad today can only be a global city, can only be an international city, if we are able to meet the basic needs of our citizens. If we can have safe roads, if we can have good pedestrian-friendly footpaths, if we can not have people sleeping on the footpaths, if we do not have beggars on traffic islands, if we have more night shelters, if we have more graveyards, model graveyards that is, model markets, model libraries, model green spaces, model parks, only then will we be a safe, smart, clean, green Hyderabad. So the government of TRS, this government, Telangana government, is absolutely committed to the growth of Hyderabad. So once again, this unique format is being done for the first time. If I've gone in a bit too long, I apologize. Now I'll go back to my chair and take your questions. Thank you so much.